I've been waiting for this, but it's finally here. Since you have been following the channel, you know that at some point I had an issue with the throttle body. And that issue is the reason why I bought that package. So this package is mainly going to help me with the throttle body and the sound that is going to come out of the throttle body. So we're going to see if everything will work the way I think it should. But firstly, before I do anything, I need to show you the inside of my engine bay. Those who've been following the channel know that my engine bay looks really mint, and you can eat on this one. You can literally eat on top of the engine. You know, it's so clean, no oil, no leak, no dust, no nothing. It's so clean, you can eat on it. I'm playing. This engine bay is so dirty. We need to clean the engine bay first before we put anything new on the engine bay. And the valve, I'm thinking of respraying the valve. Tell me what you think. Which color should I go with? And we're going to choose from the things that I bought from the package. So everything that I bought from the package, you're going to choose which one should I use. I'm just going to use the one that I think will look good, but you can comment down in the comment section and tell me which one you prefer. To clean out the engine bay, the first thing that we need to do is remove the battery terminals. Removing the battery terminals will allow us to remove the battery so that we can have more space to work on and clean under the battery tray. The second thing that we need to remove is this cold air intake. We also need to unplug this sensor. I started with the part that were welded on in the engine bay, such as this part over here. So I've put some body filler on that, and there's another part that was welded on over there. So I also put some body filler on that so that I could smooth it out. They didn't smooth it out, they just welded it, then they left it the way it was. I'm just going to sand it. I'm using a 60 grit sandpaper, which is the harshest one that I have, just to smooth the surface a little bit. You can see the surface is becoming a little bit better than the way it was, so I'm just going to keep on sanding it down until it is smooth enough. Then I'm going to hit it with 180 and I'm going to hit it with 600 grit sandpaper. I'm smoothing the last part, which is the hardest one, because it is not easy to put my hand in there, so I don't think I'll be able to smooth it out the way I want it to, but at least it will be better than the way it was. So I went to a hardware store to buy sandpaper and some can sprays. So the sandpapers that I bought, it is 600. I bought 3 of them. Those are the finest that I could find, and we have 180 grit sandpaper. And I also bought these 2 can sprays, and I don't recommend anyone using the can sprays to spray on the outside of the vehicle, because this is just the engine bay, so I don't have a problem with it. But if it was on the exterior, I will have a problem with it because it get burned by the sun. Let me show you an example with the car that I did before. So this Corolla came with a red paint and the bumper was black, so I painted the bumper with a can spray. It did look good at that time. I even used a clear coat. Let me show you how it is right now. You can see right here that the paint has peeled off, and over here you can see that the paint is tearing itself apart. Of this spot that I'm showing is because of the burning of the sun and the lack of quality of the cans. So it's not recommended to use it on the exterior. On the interior, the sun won't be able to hit your vehicle, so you'll be safe. I do not recommend anyone to use this paint on the exterior. They don't really do that much job. Maybe it's the ones that I always buy. Maybe they're the ones that have a problem. But this one that I bought is a gloss white. To be respraying the engine bay with the gloss white paint with this can. So let's continue with the video. I'm going to sand it down with 180p. So after 180p, I'm going to 600 grit sandpaper. 600, which will remove all the scratches. Then we are on to the paint. As you can see, I've already covered the engine and the radiator so that there won't be any overspray. So I'm trying to avoid any overspray. So I'm going to cover up the headlights and the grille and the sides so that I'll paint where I need to paint. And I'm still going to cover up some spots where I don't need any paint on so that there won't be any overspray. I'm trying to avoid any overspray as possible as I can. I've covered it to a point where I am so satisfied. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to spray this part. Then after spraying this part, I'm going to let it dry up. After, I'm going to do this side. Then after doing this side, then I'm coming to this side. Usually when I use a chem spray, I don't use any primer because there will be a chemical reaction that I do not want to mess with. So some scientific stuff will be happening. So I'm not going to be using any primer. Usually sometimes I don't even use a clear coat. But on this one, I'm going to use a clear coat because it allows me to use a clear coat and there won't be any chemical reaction that is going to mess up the paint. Done respraying it. Before I show you, number one, I'm not a professional painter. Number two, I tried my best. Number three, I'm super lazy. So let me show you the result. Let me tell you right now, with the opinion that I have, I think it is better than the way it was. So the aim was to make it look better and to make it look uniform so that when you open the engine bay, when you're going to see the engine and everything, it will look better than the way it is. I'm not going to make it perfect. I'm going to try to make it perfect. So bear with me. I'm trying to make it perfect. I think this process is going to take longer than as expected because I'm thinking of removing this panel, the whole front, even on this side. And here's the reason why. As you can see, the door from this side and the panel from this side are perfectly aligned, but I won't say the same thing on the other side. As you can see here from the passenger side, the door and the fenders are too close to each other. Even the line between is so thin, you cannot do anything. That's one of the reasons for me to remove the fenders. Another reason to remove the fenders is because every time I'm driving this car, from this side, it makes a squeaky noise. So you can hear that noise every time I'm driving. It makes me go nuts. And the reason for that noise to happen is because if you can see between the doors, this part over here, as you can see, it is broken and it has rust on it. And I want to remove the rust and I want to weld that part back on the vehicle. When we're coming back to this side, the reason I want to put the same thing that we have on that side on this side. And the other thing is that they have painted this car, but they did not paint it as they should have. You can see that there are some primer. Here's a bit of a primer over here. Cleaning the engine came to a point where I'm going to strip the front off because I think even the bonnet is going to come off because of some spots. I'm getting crazy about this, but I think that's the right way to do it. And just to do something once and for all, to take the panel off, first we need to remove the mud flap. To remove the mud flap, we first need to remove this bolt and this one, and there's another one behind here on top. As you can see, we have a bolt here, we have another one here, we have another one here. All of them, they are 10mm bolt. We were supposed to remove this one, but because this one is broken, so we don't need to remove that one. We also have another one under here that we also have to remove in order to take the whole panel off. And before we do that, we must remove the headlights. So the same thing goes to that side. So let me get into it. Let me remove everything and see you in a bit. So as you can see, the whole front has been stripped apart. Not the whole front, but basic front part of this. So you can see there's another part over here that is rusted. So basically this is how the car looks without the fender. So it's not really that bad, but we have some problem such as here. We're going to clean this rust off, and here we're also going to clean this rust off, and over there we're also going to clean that rust off. So we're going to paint this whole thing white. Now we're left with taking this side off. It's getting pretty late, so if you are at this point of the video, man, you just have to hit that subscribe button. So on the side doesn't really look that much bad, because I once tried to make it look good, and we have some wires that have been cut off. This is our power cable to the amplifier, remember on the last video. So I've been thinking of aligning the door, because the door is not the way it should. That's why it was touching over here. It was touching because of the alignment. I'm thinking of unscrewing this two piece and pushing the door towards the back, because we have a line here. So maybe try to I don't know, the line is perfect, is the way it should be, but just to open up a little bit from that side, I think I'm going to push the door back a little bit. If you work at a body shop, tell me what option should I take, what should I do. And I'm also thinking of, because the door is the way it should be and the fender is the way it should be, I'm thinking of cutting the door a little bit, not too much, because the fender I cannot cut it because it has a specific part of it that is blocking the passenger or the driver to be able to see the wires and everything like that. As most of you guys have been wondering what's in the box. Inside this box we have some goodies. These are air filters. I bought these air filters not only for this car but as sort of a sponsor for this video. So I'll be the sponsor of my own video. If you live in the area that I'm at, or you want me to deliver this to you, I'll put my number and I'll put my Facebook and my Instagram for you to be able to order this. They will be coming with a message and a special shout out to you guys who will be able to buy this from me. So we have the blue filter. Basically what it does is to help your vehicle to have a clean air into your intake. It also adds some little bit of speed onto it. I don't know, it's a theory that I heard. It also makes a crazy sound. This is the blue one. We also have a red one. If you know what red stands for, and it stands for power. So I also have a black one. Make sure you get yourself one of these filters. I want you guys to choose a specific color for this car. If the color is black, that you guys going to choose. The valve cover, I'm going to paint it black. If we choose the blue, I'm going to paint the valve cover blue. If we choose red, I'm going to paint the valve cover red. So yeah, tell me which color should I choose, and make sure you get yourself one of these filters just to help the channel, you know. I want you guys to decide what should I do with the fender and the door on that side. So if you work at a body shop, tell me what could be the problem and what is the solution. So if you have enjoyed the video, if you have seen the video until this end, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.